So welcome back to part 3 for prepping for my March 30 days of sketches, and I'm just going to get right into it. I have already went over to another bin and picked out some elements to create my embellishments with, because this is Saturday's layout, and so I am playing along with Ginger's scraps and her series Scraps to Embellishments. So I'm going to be playing with those embellishments that I picked out, but right now I'm picking out all the papers that I need to finish the layouts. Now this will be 3 small page layouts, 8x8s and 8.5 by 11. And then I will create the embellishments to go with it. And I'm not sure yet if I was going to do 3 or 4 embellishments, but once I'm done picking everything out, they will all go into an envelope. Now this is sped up quite a bit, because I personally thought it was very boring, and what else was I going to say about these layouts? But the first couple layouts that I prep for, or I should say page kits that I prep for, I switch between category and category and category, and then I realize that's silly. I'm just going to keep bringing over the same category bin, even though I have 3 travel layouts and 6 outdoor layouts and stuff like that. So right now you're seeing me switch between bin to bin to bin, and then I get smart and realize that's not gonna work. So here's a travel layout, and I'm just going through all the different travel papers that I have. Instead of seeing my arm folding over across and me flipping through my papers, I decided to bring the whole paper kit out, or all of my papers out, and just kind of go through what I have. And it's hard for you guys to visualize what I'm making the paper kits based off of, because I can't quite show you guys yet the sketches. And I know I've said that multiple times, and I'll say it again when I come back on in a live session. Once I'm done putting all these layouts together, I will actually come back and have a little talk with you guys, basically about the tooling and stuff, and how I pack the tooling if I were to take this all to a crop. Because normally I do this type of page kitting only when I go to crops and I want to record on my crops. It seems like when I'm not organized like this and I just pack a bunch of stuff, I don't create as much as when I do get organized, and have everything prepped and ready to go, because it's overwhelming, especially with the atmosphere. I'm not at home. I don't have the calming reality of it's just me and my thoughts and my products and everything that I get to play with. It's friends and visiting and stories and food. Oh my God, I love the food. So it does get a little overwhelming for me when I'm trying to concentrate on creating something, because as soon as I start getting to go on something, I start with picking out my products. Well, by the time that I get interrupted 6 times, I forgot where I was going with that product, and I have to start all over again. And that's just how my brain works, to be honest. So it is a little harder for me. So I decided that this is how I was going to go to my crops if I want to scrapbook. Now, I don't always take scrapbooking to crops. I do also end up taking, I like to paint on wood, mostly home decor items. So I will take those. I have a kit club that I am a part of called Project Home. It's Project Home DIY is the official name of it. And they're actually really cool make it yourself home decor items. Some of them are wall hanging, some of them are table sitters, turntables, lazy Susans, tiered tray items, things like that. And so I personally enjoy making them, and sometimes I get so busy with the shop and my videos and all things scrapbooking that I let a couple of them pile up. And so when I go to a local retreat, and local, I mean it's 6 hours away, but actually no, I think it's only 4.5, maybe 5 hours away. Maybe 4. No, it can't be 4 because Reno's 4. Anyways, I am getting distracted. But when I go to that one, I usually take all my paints and stuff and just home decor, because then I give scrapbooking a break. And I step away from it for a little bit. It's not always a business, and it's what keeps it fun. I mean, I'm still enjoying myself making all these scrapbooks and sorting through all these supplies. I mean, I've probably been through this bag right here 100 times, and every time I always find something very useful in it for the layout that I'm looking for. I don't know why it works like this, you guys. I really don't. I could just take, oh my gosh, this is my whole outdoor layout bin. And what I could do is just take this entire bin and say, oh, I'm just going to work on outdoor layouts. It doesn't work that way, especially, like I said, with the busyness of your surroundings, of my surroundings. I get distracted way too easily. So if I pre-make all this stuff and I just have my choices in a bag or an envelope, more say, that's what I'm doing here, then I can whip out pages like crazy because the decisions have already been made. Now, part of me is really enjoying this process because of the fact that I am able to put these together and then while it's fresh in my brain, turn around and just start making them. And I'm not sure if this is going to be a new thing for me to do at home as well as when I get ready for a crop. I don't know. It is a lot of prep work ahead of time, and sometimes I don't give myself that time frame, but who knows? Maybe if I can get ahead like I was 2 years ago. 2023 practically killed me, you guys. But if I get ahead, then I might be able to continue creating layouts like this and stay ahead. That would be super fun. So for this particular layout, I think this is when I got smart and decided, okay, these are all outdoor photos. And so I'm going to be doing nothing but outdoor photos, even though they're not in order of day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. I just went through all and picked out all my outdoor photos and thought, you know what, I'm just going to go through this one bin and photos, categories, and be able to go that way. Now here, I picked out way too many elements. I already knew that, but the pieces that I was pulling, I wanted to go one direction, but the layout sketch was leading me in another direction. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to pull out both directions. And when I get into actually creating with the layout, then I will decide whether or not I will want to, which embellishments I would want to do for these particular photos. So I went ahead and just gave myself both choices. And part of that will be based off of once everything is glued down and I go to the embellishing, which way will it take me? And that's honestly the truth of how it is sometimes it'll be a light and airy photo. Other times it'll be, I just want to stick to the fact that we pitch tents and call it good. So photos like this are also really good for that one way or the other type of layout. But for this particular one, I actually wanted, for one, this is a Saturday layout again. So I had to make sure that I pulled out something green, which in all honesty was the category or theme that Ginger had picked out for us was green leaves because it's March. So yes, that is where this particular layout was going to go. But then I also needed to be able to pull in elements for the actual sketch. So I'm making the embellishments. That's the main part of my video, but I want to finish the layout by using those elements on the layout after I make them. Last month, I did not participate at all in, or February, I should say, because this is still going up in February. But February, I didn't participate at all in Ginger's scraps to embellishment hop because I knew I wasn't going to be able to prep that many embellishments in time to record them and have them ready to go before I went on my cruise. And I think at this point I'm coming back or I'm already back from my cruise. I can't remember. But that's the joy of filming ahead, right? But in January, I made a bunch of embellishments, but I had no intention of using them right away. And so I had a lot of questions going, oh my gosh, I'm trying to make all these embellishments, but I don't know how to use them. And when I make bulk embellishments, like 15 or 30 of the exact same thing, normally I usually either do those for table gifts and you only get one of those, or I will put them as a thank you card in my orders, a specific order that pertains to the embellishment that I created. I don't intend to use 30 of the exact same thing. I mean, all my layouts would start to look the same. There's no way. So when I made my hockey embellishments, that is something that I will use for a page once I actually print those pages out. I just have not gotten that far yet because normally I do 1 year at a time, and I'm still on 2021, and the hockey photos are from 2023 or 2 or 3. They're from, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I want to say 23. But anyways, so here's where you can see that I'm not moving my category bin. These are the organizers that I offer in my shop. If you guys are interested, what type of organizer these are. This is the original organizer that I created, and it has a little drawer underneath all of these little compartments. For bulkier items and things like that. I just took the drawer out because I really didn't need it. But it's making it a lot faster to go through all of these page elements and packing and picking for these pages. Another thing that I'm also keeping in mind is these rocks right here are a series of petroglyphs that we went and looked at, and I'm keeping in mind what the other papers I used for this series, so that way they don't stick out like sore thumbs, but they're not the exact same paper line for, let's just say, 4 layouts, right? I didn't really want that. Could I have done just a 2-page layout and 1 insert or 2 inserts in between? Yes, but there were some that were just so significant in being like they were really, really noticeable that I definitely wanted to do an individual page. And then for like this one here, it's only an 8.5 by 11 for a single photo. Same exact area. I love taking pictures of the paths that we are walking on, especially how creative park rangers get with those paths. However, I wanted to make sure that when I create my layout, that I have an even amount. So if I'm ending on an 8.5 by 11, then my next subject matter is going to be an 8.5 by 11. So if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's just something that I want to do. So anyways, yeah, that's this one here is Mixed Media Mayhem layout. So, and I can recognize it just by the products that I'm pulling in, even though I've completely got them all out of order. Now, I don't know exactly which Mixed Media layout this one is. I could look. It looks like it might be for the 22nd. So it's another Friday, but it's at the very end of the month. And I'm just now trying to figure out, you know, like I picked out a mixed media inspiration layout that closely represented the sketch. And so now I'm trying to merge the two together is where I was going with this particular page right here. And so pulling out elements instead of stamps, I want to use rub-ons. Instead of, you know, a ribbon, I want to use those bricks. Things like that. So, and then of course I also want to do the packaging technique. So this one I'm not really sure. I know some of them I can recognize because they are part of the hops that I enjoy being a part of. But sometimes if it's just the sketch, it's really hard for me to figure it out because of the fact that all I'm doing is just going off of you know, the papers and the photos, and then I can figure out the sketch later. So here I'm trying to definitely remember to bring in those photo mats, because that is definitely one thing that I forget. It's so strange because when I build a page kit, my first thing that I like to do after taking off all my branding strips in a video is to go and map my photos and get rid of all those extra pieces of my page kit that I created. But when I pack for a retreat and I'm putting all these page kits together, I get so focused on the layout itself, I forget about the photos and the mats that I am so used to doing. And it is so hard for me, completely hard for me to, get used to just putting photos down with no photo mats. It is very hard. So I honestly think that this one here is off the board because I am looking for leaves of a specific color. And for off the board is a series that I like to play with. It's once a month, yes, it is once a month. It's the last Wednesday of every month. And Crystal Barrett, who is Pineapple Papers here on YouTube, and she came up with off the board because she noticed that she had quite a lot of Pinterest pins collected in her computer or on her phone, but she never actually uses them. And so she came up with this series of, hey, let's use them. And so when I have a sketch to follow, and especially since these are exclusive sketches just for Christy's 30 days, I knew I couldn't use just the sketch. So what I do is I go to a mood board, and mostly that is based off of the photos that I pick. I go and I pick a mood board, and then I try to build the page kit. And now I have not only a mood board, the photos, and a sketch to help me create my layout. So that also helps with picking and deciding what elements go for your page kit. So let's see, this one here, I believe, is another Mixed Media Mayhem. Yes, I think it is. So what I did here was I pulled out a bunch of leftovers that were in another large envelope that was left over from the nature study. I fell in love with that nature study collection, and I just absolutely had to get it. So this one, I love me a good layout that has a prominent photo that has a prominent color in it, because then I can pretty much start with any color I want. And I've been eyeballing these grays. So I definitely want to work on the tree rings, but I've always had a hard time using these paper rose tree rings. So I'm going to try to turn them into brown, but not too brown, like a brown ish. And so I went to my tray and I pulled out all the large tree rings and whatnot so I could scatter tree rings throughout and help the gray ones kind of blend in a little bit. So I'm going to try. And now I'm into my water category. My water category is basically anything wet. So it could be the dog playing in the sprinkler. It could be us swimming in a swimming pool. It could be standing out at the dock fishing. I mean, anything that has to do with water, even though fishing is also outdoors. I try to keep fishing as a water sport, or even kayaking, anything like that. And so I had a couple water photos. I think I had 3 total, but after I did this one, I forgot and decided that I put my water category away, did another layout, because for some reason my 3rd water photo got placed off to the side to where it was temporarily not visible. So I'm really, really loving, and I don't know why, but I'm really loving the white, red, and blue watercolors. Now, it's not just because of the Simple Stories ones. Please leave a message. Sorry. It's not because of the Simple Stories and that I have a ton of it. It is because of the fact that I just really, it's really nautical to me. It's very watery to me, is having that red, white, and blue colors. And so I tend to go for those first, plus all my embellishments. I mean, it can't get any simpler than that, having all these cool embellishments that go with it. All right, so there I forgot my water photo. So I'm going to go ahead and put this firefighter photo, which is just Smokey the Bear. And I know he doesn't work for a fire department. He works more for the forestry department. But in all in all, we're at a fireman's picnic. And Smokey just happened to walk up. And that funny photo of me and the park ranger was not to make my husband jealous, not one bit. I snapped a photo with him because my son was all up in Smokey's face. And then my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law and her kids all got into Smokey's face. And I thought, you know what? That's not fair. The park ranger never gets that much attention. And so I took the picture. Needless to say, it's not going to end up on my layout as a final result, but I think it's funny. So here's my water layout, and I decided to go ahead and use these 2 scraps left over from all of my scraps that I had off to the side. And I'm going to make this more of a pretty layout because that's my daughter. My daughter always likes the bright, fun, cheery, rainbowy, pink layouts. And so I thought, you know what, this is absolutely perfect. It could be more about her being a princess than a water layout, even though she's in her swimsuit. So I've just got the word favorite up at the top. I'm going to cut off all those words above it because I think it's color and movie and all that food, whatever. And then also use the word princess from the thicker pack that I had left over from another layout that I'd done. So this one's going to be super, super fun when I get to doing it. I actually do enjoy creating layouts for my daughter like that because I don't very often get to make layouts like that. Most of my layouts aren't bright and cheery like that. So it is fun throwing it in there, but I have to say they are harder for me. All right, so now I'm into the foodie layouts. This is us at our cabin, and my kids are actually playing games, sitting around the table. I didn't actually get any foodie photos, but I'm treating it like a foodie layout because they're sitting around the dining room table. So 2 of them are of my kids, and I think one of them has their cousin in it, and then the other 2 is where my daughter showed up for a day. And she brought her friends. So that was super, super fun. Having all the kids gathered around the table. And so that is why I went with the foodie layouts. But as you can see, I didn't really pick a lot of food product. I think I picked a plate and a fork maybe for one of them, and that was it. So here we're standing in a restaurant. We just got done eating, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4 generation photo, to be honest, because we've got great grandma, grandpa, dad, and kids. So yes, 4 generations of family going on here. And then I have a cut file that says Sweet Life. I can cut off the ice cream cone and just use the word Sweet Life. I really like that. I'm pulling my colors off of the title. It's something tiger, so I need to find out what the name of the restaurant is. But I really did like the cartoony wood grain plus this floral piece for Grandma and Nana. And then I wanted the yellow for, like I said, I was trying my hardest to remember the photo mats. I'm going to actually see which ones I didn't remember all the photo mats with. Okay, so I think I have 2 more layouts for you guys to put together. I really don't really know what to say on each and every layout other than I'm going through all the categories. This category is what I used to call my happy bin, but nothing about it made me happy because it was where I basically just hid all my pink stuff. Truth be told, my rainbows and all my pinks went inside this bin. And so anyways, I'm not really sure what to name this bin. In all honesty, sunshine and rainbows, who knows? I come up with a different one every time. But this one is for Thursday, the 14th. Yep, the 14th. And it's my puppy layout. And I thought I would bring out this Mamarazzi kit or collection from Minte, and I just really love the colors based off of what's in my trash can. I know it's weird, but that's where I pulled out the colors, you guys. I can see the blue, I can see the yellow, I can see it all, and I love it. So that is what I'm going to do. Another thing that I always forget to do for these page kits is remember titling. And so that's when I do a lot of words on a layout because then it doesn't really need a title. So this one here is the kids' grandma is getting remarried. And so I thought, you know what, this is another perfect category to use because, again, it's sunshine and rainbows. So I'm going to use this Grateful Heart collection by Pretty Little Studios. I loved this collection so much. I think this is my 3rd time purchasing it. Not going to lie. I just really love that blue and purple color, and then the really, really dark purple that's almost black, and then the gray leaves. There's just something about that. And yes, I'm ignoring the pink in the collection. It's okay. So this is the last one that I have, and it is the army layout. I'm actually doing 2 layouts. Both of them are 8.5 by 11. They will be back to back, but I'm going to treat them as if they're a 2-page layout. And I'm using I believe this is a 2-page sketch. I'm not really sure which one exactly it is, to be honest, or I could be lying and I'm not really sure. I couldn't even tell you what page number or day this will be filmed on, but I basically started with the embellishments because in all honesty, I would have went straight for my camo paper, and my camo paper is really hard to keep in my stash because I use it up right as soon as I get it, knowing I have photos like this. So I'm trying to stay away from that. And what I figured is if I get enough embellishments that look super, super cool without any camo paper, then I can go to having solid cardstock. And so that's what I did. I had this leftover green piece that I picked out from my day one cardstock, and then changed my mind because I realized that it was supposed to be a mixed media mayhem, and I'm going to watercolor the cardstock instead. Okay, so that is pretty much how I pack for, I know it was very, very hit or miss, and I apologize about that, you guys. I do get interrupted throughout the day. I'm so scatterbrained, it's ridiculous. I'm shocked I even got all of these done. I really am. But that is how I pack for a crop. Like every time I just look at my inspiration piece, peaches, that is what this piece of paper is right here. It's my inspiration piece, but I'm not allowed to share with you guys until March 1st when I start creating with these layouts. But I do put everything in here, and because I have a bunch of like related layouts, I will have more than enough to be able to play with. So in addition to having these layouts come with me, I also picked out all of these sprays that I plan on using for mixed media, just with different types of like different layouts. So I've got 1, 2, 3, at least 3 layouts. I do also bring my white, because I always splatter, or I more than likely will splatter here and there with white, even if it's not on a mixed media layout. I also have my golds, and I have my my blacks available as well. This time I even have a bronze, so that'll be fun if I don't really think it's a gold, and it's more of an outdoorsy brown layout. That is also fun. I know that there was a couple times I forgot to put in these tissue paper, so I would, if I was going on a crop, which I'm not. I plan on doing these all here in house, but I'm gonna keep these handy so I can possibly bring some in if I remember. But I did try to include tissue paper in some of the layouts. I've got my tools here, nice and handy. I do end up bringing a couple browns. I won't be bringing any blacks. I did have a layout where I have a black base, but I don't think I'll ink in black. If I do anything, I will probably splatter in black or splatter in white since it's a black layout. But I do have quite a bit of outdoorsy photos and layouts to do, so I brought a variety of browns to play with, a dark brown, a medium brown, and a light brown, as well as my blending tool in case I want to ink up some edges or stamp with the browns, because I do have at least 2 layouts that I'm aware of with stamping. Whoops. I also have this stamp, or this ink pad, and a blender tool, because I can't remember if this was for my stitches and stencils, and I will need to rub it in, or if it was for stamping. I don't remember. But I did pick out this tool. Normally I bring all of these tools because 9 times out of 10 somebody brings a lot of colors. So I usually just bring these. And I'm able to use other people's inks, which is very, very nice. Depending on where I'm going or how far I'm going, I usually end up bringing a lot more ink than just this. But these are the ones that I pack for sure, because I know I have a layout here ready to go and needing these items. I have all of my tools picked out and everything ready to go for these. I do end up usually going over one last time to make sure that I have a base piece, make sure that I have all the elements that are represented in the sketch. But this time I'm not going to go and do that because I am working here in the house. So if I forgot something, I will let you know throughout the video that I had to pull this in or whatnot, or it was a staple, because I do end up always bringing my tool bag. Skip the scissors. I don't have it all packed nice and tidy because I'm getting ready to leave for a trip. These scissors don't actually fit in here. They are an add-on because I love these scissors. Thank you, Janet. But normally I do have all of these tools. I've got a nail file because I'm constantly breaking my nails, especially during spring and winter when everything seems to get brittle. And then I've got one for, you know, sanding off the edges of chipboard and whatnot. Same with these pieces right here. I've got my journaling pens, which is a thin black, a fat black, a thin brown, and a thin blue. Those are my favorite journaling pens. A white pen, pliers, fine, you know, like fine tip pliers for grabbing things, a couple different styluses just in case I want to puff up some flowers or something like that. I have a white eraser. I've got my scissor markers. That way when I go to crops I can put the markers on my scissors and they don't grow legs. That is just for me, but I usually don't use them here at the house. I have my glue eraser, some chapstick, and then this is a pickup tool. It's a take your pick tool by Stampin' Up. It has a pokey tool. It also has a spatula hidden inside. You just twist this and it comes off. And then it's got a pickup tool, but this really doesn't work. My fabric scissors, I did pack a bunch of fabric. I've got a pencil in case I need to trace around and then put mixed media on the page. This is a different style of tweezers. I do like to carry both styles, but my most used ones are the self-closing ones. And I have, for rub-ons, I've got this tool here, and then I also have this tool for creasing. So if I need to crease anything, that is what my tool is. I know that I've talked about bringing my tool bag. I just don't know if I've told you guys what I had in my tool bag. So that is what I usually carry. I do have an X-Acto knife that's usually in here as well, but it is packed up for my trip. I also have the other pair of scissors, the haberdashery scissors by Tim Holtz. I have those as well. But again, they are packed up. And then I've got a couple other things, my edge distressor and all that good stuff. I can't believe I don't have an extra hanging out somewhere. But yes, these are the tools that I take, and I just zip up my little monster here and pack it with me, as well as my ATG. And then I've got a container that I hold all my ATG tape, as well as, so I've got my ATG tape, I've got my foam dots, I have my foam ready to go. I take this as well. I also have two containers that look like this. One is full of used foam like this, just in case I run out of larger pieces, and I have lots of little pieces like this. And then this is a mix of a bunch of enamel dots. So I take this, not that I ever remember to use it, but somebody might need something or something like that. And what these are those multiple packs of enamel dots that have one strip of each color, and I cut them up and then separated them by color. So I usually have blues and browns, well, the whole rainbow is what is usually in here, and this is nice and handy for a traveling thing as well. So that is pretty much how I pack. Again, I did this exact same thing in February, and now I'm doing it again in March, so that way I can share with you guys. But it was a different approach, because this time, instead of starting with my product, I started with my photos. I feel like I'm always starting with something. It doesn't really matter to me what I start with. In January, I had all my scraps, and then I picked my photos based off of the mood and feel that my scraps gave me. For February, I started with my Kit Conspiracy kits, and then just decided how many extra paper or layouts I was going to do. And I don't know if I picked out my papers first or if I picked out my photos after my kit conspiracy. I don't really know exactly how I did it, and I can't remember the video. But this one here, I for sure went and pulled out based off of the sketch. Like I definitely went off of the design of the sketch and which photos I should pick from the sketch. And then I picked my papers from there. So I am going to just have all of this stuff super handy right behind me or in front of me on either table. Honestly, doesn't really matter, but I do want... Weird. I'm sorry, I got distracted really quickly. But yes, I will be having all of this stuff very handy, because it does get used up and very well represented when it's already picked out. Like, I don't have to go and decide which punches I want or which, and I might go and get dies too, based off of what it was. These were just easier for me to grab, and they're definitely easier for on the go, because then when you bring a die, you have to either cross your fingers that somebody's going to bring a machine or pack your machine. So when you do think of, when I think of going to a crop, I try to stay self-contained, but every now and then I forget to bring extra white cardstock. I forget to think about the photo mats, and then I need a photo mat. So those end up being costly asks because it's paper, you know, and not. Some people bring extra paper and some people don't, because that's what weighs the most, right? And then of course the tooling also weighs a whole lot. So I try to put everything together and organize based off of what layouts I plan on doing, based off of a month's worth of work, whether I get that all done or not, and then hope that I don't bring anything. But I do end up bringing a few extras, like I try to remember cardstock. I try to remember my most used inks and sprays. This one just happens to be where those are the sprays that I picked out. The only thing I didn't grab were my inks. I do know that I have a layout in here that is going to need to be inked, and I know I want to do brown on brown because my base page was brown for that. But yes, I do end up bringing my staples in, and if I need black ink, I will bring my black ink too. But this one here, these papers here, because they're a lot more outdoorsy than they are grungy or anything else, I'm just gonna stick with my browns. So yeah, I think that is it, guys. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me and dealing with my chaos and packing with me. This is super fun, and I got a lot done for February. I'm hoping to do the same in March, and I hope that you guys will stick with me and watch me actually make these pages based off of what we picked out together. All right, thank you so much, and I will check you guys all later.